The former mayor of the city of Tshwane, Cilliers, Brink, had written a letter to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majutina, this after the city mayor had asked residents in Hammanskraal to not consume the water that had been made available following lab test results that had deemed the water unsafe to drink. Cilliers Brink now joins us, councillor in the city of Tshwane. Cilliers, I have got in front of me the letter you wrote to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Phemi Majutina, and in it you ask that they take all necessary steps to ensure that commitments that have been made in terms of the agreement between the Department of Water and Sanitation and the city of Tshwane are in fact carried through, because you are worried and concerned about political oversight. What are the necessary steps that you imagine to be taken?
So let's just take a step back and explain what the solution to the Hammanskraal water crisis is. After many years, it was a solution that was devised in 2023 at about the same time as the cholera outbreak. And it was that the city would take hands with the National Department of Water and Sanitation. Magalies Water would build a modular water treatment plant at Klipdrift, bypassing the polluted Arpies River and giving people water in their taps in 4 phases. Phase 1 was launched earlier this year, and the city of Tshwane proclaimed that water tests had shown the water to be clean. Unfortunately, we have received reports in the past few weeks that water is discolored and smelly. In other instances, there's no water at all. DA Councillor Themba Forsi, our spokesperson on utility services, visited various households on Tuesday. They told him they haven't had water for 2 weeks. We raised concern on Wednesday, and on Thursday, the mayor issued a statement in which he said that people mustn't consume the water until further tests are done. So it's clear to us that something is wrong. There has been a degeneration in this very important project. It's causing confusion, and it's very important that we get clarity on the safety of the water, but as well as the timeline of the project and whether there is something from an engineering perspective that has gone wrong.
Well, we sort of do have a position on that. In a letter and a statement issued by the mayor, she had asked, as she had firstly reported back, that work done on the treatment plant is still ongoing, but due to interruption in power supply, as you would recall, just about 2 weeks ago, we had load shedding, which gave 2 days of power supply interruptions there, meant that work had to come to a standstill, but also that contaminants then had made its way into the water system there. And she then said the situation contrasted the laboratory results that were recorded in January 2025, which were a different set of results than the set of results that came out a few days ago in February. Again, I have to ask, what is the intervention that you hope that the minister carries out here?
Well, let's just look at those explanations very quickly. 2 weeks ago, there's a power failure, doesn't last very long, and that perhaps explains the lack of water 2 weeks later. I'm not sure that's true, but let's say that it's plausible. It is important then to put safeguards in place that doesn't happen again. However, a power outage does not explain contaminated water, discolored water, or water that is foul smelling. It's important to understand what this project involves. Essentially, the city cut off the supply from the Arpies River through the Themba system. That was meant to be isolated completely so that nothing is contaminated by water that was not suitable for human consumption. How water contamination happened because of a power outage is not clear, because that does not account for that situation. The concern that we have is that water from the Themba system might have made its way into the water supply, despite the fact that that supply should have been cut off to the first phase of the project. So what I'm saying in very clear terms is that the explanation doesn't make sense. And the intervention that is required is for the city to account to the Department of Water and Sanitation, its partner on this project, what exactly has happened. And I can tell you, I'm not the only one asking this question. I was in Hammanskraal again today, confirming that the situation there does not inspire public trust. There's conflicting messages, And I have seen even an interview with one of the deputy ministers of water in which they express some of the same concerns that I have expressed.
Yeah, just to be clear about the city's position here, the mayor says that they were first alerted about water supply interruptions at the Cilliers package plant, which is operated by Magalies Water, on the 5th of February due to the power interruptions that had happened then. Initially, repairs were to take place to be completed on the same day. However, Magalies Water later told the city that additional work was then required, with an estimated completion to the 11th of February, that is 5 days ago. The city then said, following, and I want to get your opinion on whether you think this was the right intervention at this point. The mayor then says, following reports of deteriorating water quality, immediate steps were taken to flush the system and remove potential contaminants. The process was completed on the 12th of February, and water samples were subsequently sent for laboratory analysis. The results were expected to be in yesterday. We will try and reach out to the city to get a response about whether or not results did come in yesterday and what those results may have been. But the immediate intervention by the city was to flush the system. That seems logical and reasonable. Do you commend that intervention?
So it does seem logical and reasonable. The only question is, why did that statement go out several weeks after the fact? Why wasn't there a statement immediately warning consumers that there's a lot of water, that this is the reason for it, that the repairs are happening, that the system will be flushed? That statement was issued after we had started asking questions. Now, it's good that there's a response. Obviously, that's what you want. You want a clear, coherent response. But what makes us think twice about the explanation is that it was offered after the fact. And as I mentioned to you before in my earlier answer, I don't think that a power outage can account for discolored water. And this might be the solution: scouring the pipes, getting the tests. You say that you haven't, you don't have an account from the city yet as to whether the test results are looking good, whether the water is safe to consume. But the point is, these things need to be communicated in advance, and the failure to do so raises legitimate concerns, which is our job to raise as opposition, but also an answer to questions from residents.
Yeah, Cilliers, we're going to have to leave it there. I really do appreciate it. Councillor Cilliers Brink in the city of Tshwane. We will reach out for a response on this to the mayor of the city of Tshwane, Nasipi Moya, and to get an update on what the lab test results are that were expected yesterday.